Hi there, it's halfway through the month, and so I'm going to share with you how I'm doing on my mini retirement. I'm Julie. I'm a teacher who owns a toddler community childcare that operates during the school year, and I've been hearing a lot about people taking mini retirements to practice their retirement. Sometimes that's just practicing what they'll do during retirement, and sometimes that's practicing financially. All right, this video is going to be two parts. In the first half, I'm talking about how my budget's doing in my mini retirement, and then I'm going to talk about how I'm spending my time in my mini retirement of a month. So if you're not interested in the financials, you can skip ahead to the second half. And for me, this year, since I'm closed during July and August, I decided to take July as my mini retirement, both financially and just to see what retirement might look for me. So this is something a lot of people do. If you're not teachers, they'll just do it by taking a vacation, like taking vacation time, but not actually going in anywhere and just practicing living, a normal month, what that might be like, just not going to work every day. So for me, retirement means closing the school and retiring from that. Now, I'll talk more at the end of the video of what I'll do with my time. But I set my budget based in July just on my husband's income. He wants to retire after I do. He's a middle school teacher, so we'll see how long he goes with that, but it'll definitely be several years after I retire and close the school. So we're just living off his income, which is less than it was during the school year, because during the school year, he, generally speaking, gets extra money. I'm going blank on what it's called, but overload money for cramming all those little middle schoolers into the classroom and having more students to teach and grade papers for than his normal contract allows. But since in our state, if you're a teacher, rather than giving you all your salary in 10 months, they have a forced way of spreading that out over July and August. So he still gets paid in July. Now, normally I don't get tuition in July and August. So what I do is I save through the year so I can pay myself in July and August. Now, I went ahead and did that, but I'm not going to pay I saved, but I'm not going to pay myself through July. So we're just practicing budgeting with just his income. All right, so here's how I'm doing so far. So it's kind of a low spend month. So you can watch my video I did at the beginning of the month of all the categories that I budgeted, my monthly budget video. But basically, where I have flexibility to spend is my own personal spending budget, which we call guilt-free spending for both of us. So I did lower that for guilt-free spending this month. It's usually $400, now it's $350 guilt-free spending. And then also our flexible spending, I kept the same, but I'm trying to spend less of it just to see how well we can do. Although August is a big time for projects around the house, so I think we're gonna spend it all. We'll see in the numbers here. And then in groceries. So usually during the school year, I'm buying food for 3 adults, myself, my husband, our disabled son that lives at home, and then 3 adults, my daughter, other son, son-in-law, who don't live with us, but do come and eat with us frequently. Sometimes even the lunch meal for my daughter and son-in-law if they're working in the neighborhood. So I set the budget lower because I'm not feeding the students, but I'm really eager to see how much I spend just on our family, and I'm hoping not to spend the full $1,700 I budgeted when I'm feeding the students too. I usually budget about $2,022 or $2,200, depending whether there's vacation days in the month. So let's look at the numbers. and see how I'm doing, and I'll talk about how I'm spending my time in the last half of the video, but you can skip ahead to that. Okay, so July 15th today, and here's how much I have left in my guilt-free spending money for Julie. So that budget category covers like my monthly massage subscription that I have, get a massage or sometimes a facial every month, clothing, and I did buy some new clothing this month just because I wear black all through the school year and with kind of like a uniform, but then I have more colorful apron. But I wanted just some more colorful clothes, you know, that didn't have stains on them and things for the summer. So I bought a few tops and a pair of pants also. And then any like subscriptions that aren't shared with my husband. So I have this Learning Herbs website because I practice herbalism just as an interest. And so I have a subscription for that, learningherbs.com, and then there's a magazine, a digital magazine that I subscribe to that my husband is not interested in. So any kind of subscriptions that we don't both use, we put in our own category, our own guilt-free spending. And then if I wanted to buy anything that's not really for the whole house, like for my hobbies, then that would go under my guilt-free spending, or any toiletries would also, like beyond just regular things that are shared in the house, like makeup, which I buy sometimes, would go into that. All right, so I budgeted $350 and I have, let's see, I have $241 remaining at this point, halfway through the month. So doing pretty well. All right, so let's look at groceries, and actually groceries is food, but any kind of like cleaning supplies that are shared by the house, or general like hand soap, that type of thing. Toilet paper would also come out of groceries. And so halfway through the month, I have $1,125 left. So doing pretty well for that. And then again, that's out of the $1,700 that we budgeted. All right, and let's look at flexible spending. All right, and flexible spending, we have $135 left. I like to have more left at this point in the month, but because we're both home from school, we've just been working on some house projects that are little projects that we try to budget in the flexible spending. We do have a sinking fund savings account for like house repair and house maintenance, but for little items like we're replacing the doorknobs just because they're getting like worn down, the finish, and they're all like different and don't match, and it was time to replace some of them, so we decided to replace all of them so they all kind of match. All right, so those are really the categories where I have like room to make decisions and a lot of control over those line items. So just the three, and I'm so far living within those budgets. And again, you can watch my video I posted at the beginning of the month of exactly what my mini retirement budget is. Okay, so let's talk about what I am doing during my mini retirement. So July is good. I don't have any big vacation plans, but we did go camping, which is something I hope to still feel good enough to sleep on a tent floor in retirement. So we're going camping twice this month. And then what I did, because routine, you know, when you're a teacher, you have a lot of just routines in your day, the flow of the day. And so I wanted to make a little routine for myself in my mini retirement too. So that, you know, I'm being a good steward of my good health and my good time and not just kind of wasting it and, you know, being super lazy, although I scheduled that in too. So what I did is I assigned a day of the week, like for certain tasks, and that'll be my day to do that. And I've done this before, like during, you know, the school year, and I kind of rebel about it like against myself, even though I'm the one making the schedule of doing certain tasks on certain days. I'm really committed to sticking to the schedule just because I think that will be really healthy when I really do close to school and retire or semi-retire. So anyway, so Mondays I've scheduled volunteering. So I am volunteering at my church. We coordinate with other organizations to be a host site to provide free meals to anyone 18 and under. And so I've been volunteering every Monday for that. And then also as my volunteer day, I've been going to different friends' properties and practicing my herbalism skills. And it's fun, but I'm teaching them about all the weeds that grow in the yard and what they could use them for. Or my one friend lives more out in the wilderness, and so she has some woodland plants and things she can use. So doing that, and then if there's any big project that one of my adult children or somebody else needs help with, I try to schedule that on Monday too. So Monday's kind of my volunteering day. And then Tuesday is just my fun day. So I'm trying to schedule something fun, even if it's just simple, like, going out for drinks or coffee with somebody on Tuesday. Wednesday is my work day, so my house project day. So that's a day replacing the doorknobs or washing walls, or what else did I do? Yes, those have been the big ones so far because I was camping on a Wednesday this month already. So, painting trim that's looking beat up. I've done that too. So little work projects like that, or scheduling things that need to be done in the house. So we're having new flooring put in that we saved up for. In my area, it's hard to find just vinyl sheet flooring. Everyone's kind of going to plank or tile. But anyway, we found one that was good enough that we could use. And so I took care of that on a Wednesday. So that's been going well. And then Thursday is another, have fun and relax day. So just doing, spending more time reading or studying my herbalism or just doing fun things. And then Friday is declutter the house and organize things. And so I did organize some of my classroom space, but I only did things that were fun since I'm retired this month. And then organize our back storage room, kitchen drawers, that kind of thing. Decluttering, making Goodwill runs for things that I've decluttered on that Friday. And then Saturday and Sunday, I have relax. So try to just have some time to chill, at home more. And then also on Wednesdays and Sundays, I visit my mom who is in assisted living nearby. But I just have that on the schedule because I've heard from friends who have commented after their parents passed, which my dad did pass in June. But anyway, friends have said, I didn't realize how long it had been since I saw my parent before they lost their parent, because time just flies. So that's why I've got it on the calendar. Every Wednesday and every Sunday, I visit my mom. And then sometimes things do come up. I have to schedule something those days I can't avoid. And so I just go the next day. So that, you schedule what's important. So that's important. And then I have a grandchild, 9 months old, love to play with her and sometimes babysit her. So, she schedules herself in my life. But I am learning to set boundaries. No, Wednesday is a project day. I'm going to do this project and it's going to take me these hours, and then discuss, I wouldn't be available to babysit during those times. And I'm also helping my daughter and son-in-law with their business. And so again, I'm learning, not that it surprises me, but I've heard this from retired people too. They have to set boundaries, and you're allowed to have just because you have all this free time doesn't mean other people get to choose what you do with it. So it's a good practice in setting boundaries. No, I'm decluttering and organizing on Friday. I'm going to need, 4 hours or 2 hours. And so I'm not available during this time. So it's been good practice for that. And then hopefully, I expect when my husband and I are both retired, we'll be taking, some extended trips we've got planned. But But this is more practicing just what a typical month would be, you know, maybe a couple weekend trips, a couple camping trips. All right, so far my mini retirement is going well. I told my family I'm doing a mini retirement, but I was even brave enough to tell someone at church when she asked what I was doing in July. I said, I'm practicing a mini retirement, and it was just a real nice person. So it was a good chance, because she's semi-retired, to talk about what retirement looks like. And she was saying it's just so easy to fill all that time with doing things other people want you to do, or that you feel obligated to do, and encouraging me to make sure my passions align, like with my volunteer work. So I'm really loving my volunteer work, and leaving time for myself. So are you doing a mini retirement? Are you retired? Do you schedule your retirement days? And did you practice like I'm practicing financially before you retired? I would love to know. I'm sure the other watchers of this video would love to know. So I appreciate any advice you can give, or, you know, suggestions. And of course I welcome your questions. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the comments. Take care now. Bye.